Welcome to the SVG-TV News for Thursday, July 21st. I am Khalil Cato with the details. Today, the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Coast Guard Service bid farewell to the longest ever serving Coast Guard commander as he enters retirement. Commander Brenton Kane, who dedicated 36 years of service to the SVG Coast Guard, was the third Vincentian to become commander and spent 15 years in that role and will depart on July 25th on pre-retirement leave. Today, the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force hosted a final parade and inspection at the Abattoir Hardcourt in honor of Commander Kane, where he was also awarded a plaque for his hard work and dedication. Speaking at the parade, Deputy Commissioner of Police of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, Frankie Joseph, thanked Commander Kane for his service, noting that not only has the commander been the longest-serving Coast Guard commander, but also the longest-serving gazetted officer of the RSVG Police Force.
Leaves office, commander not only tall in stature, look at him, he's really a giant of a man, but also in his accomplishments and leadership of the men and women at the Coast Guard and the good maintenance of the Coast Guard's assets. It is not an easy task to manage multi-million-dollar assets like the Coast Guard vessels without incidents of negligent failure.
The Deputy Commissioner of Police praised the commander for his work in maintaining government properties.
In many reforms and innovations at the Coast Guard, he has helped tremendously to nurture and develop the Coast Guard to where it is today. He ensured that his senior management team and other members of staff receive the requisite training to carry out the mission of the Coast Guard, which is fittingly coined as dedicated to saving lives. Over his 36 years as a navigator on the high seas, Commander Kane would have saved many lives. He did it not only because it was his duty, but because of the kind of man he is. He is a kind-hearted human being who loves people and went above and beyond to help those who are in distress and in need.
Joseph said that Kane is a very jovial person, and not only the Coast Guard will miss him, but he will be missed regionally as well. He further noted that during Commander Kane's last years, he passed on his knowledge to the senior ranks of the Coast Guard Service, ensuring that when he leaves, it will be in good hands.
Throughout his memorable career, Commander Kane has served the region in different capacities at the Regional Security System, RSS, as a subject matter expert and instructor, both in Barbados and Antigua and Barbuda. Kane was how he mentored and tutored his senior management team and prepared them for this moment of transition at the Coast Guard. It is without any degree of uncertainty that he is leaving the Coast Guard in capable hands. That to me is one of the greatest principles of leadership. It is said that great leaders create new leaders, and Commander Kane did just that. Commander Kane, on behalf of the Commissioner of Police, the gazetted officers, the Coast Guard Service, and all other ranks of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, I wish you a very happy and healthy retirement.
During the final parade, Coast Guard Lieutenant Commander Dion Henry outlined some of Commander Kane's accomplishments during the 36 years of his career.
Procurement and commission of our flagship, the Captain Humalzak, the procurement and commission of our Force Medical Evacuation Vessel, SVG-05, the Baliso. During this tenure, 8 new vessels were added to the Coast Guard fleet. The Beckwith Patrol, the West Coast Patrol, became operational during Commander Kane's tenureship. He also took command of the Mare Patrol from the Auxiliary Police Force. The commander saw the construction and commission operations of the Coast Guard sub-base and Cannon 1, which is deemed as his brainchild. This project started during a cyber conversation with Commander Kane and Major Harvey in St. Lucia during a meeting in 2008. Other constructions Commander Kane spearheaded are the construction of the junior female quarters, Commander David Robin Conference and Training Room. He also saw the installation, operation of the Advanced Coastal Radar Surveillance System. The coastal establishment grew to a personnel under Commander Kane leadership.
Minister of Education Curtis King has described the first sitting of the National Youth Parliament as historic, noting the setting is a platform for grooming future leaders. Over a dozen students from schools across the island met in the House of Assembly today to debate on the Education Transformation Bill.
Students are here to share their opinion, and of course they are secondary school students. There's also a student from the community college, all fall under the portfolio of the Ministry of Education. So I'm very encouraged by the fact that so many of them have volunteered to be part of this important process. But there's an extremely important issue here. Today, simultaneously, we are discussing the education system. There's a summit at the Methodist Church, and this youth parliament is also discussing that serious issue of the transformation of our education. So what we are having is in fact an opportunity to hear from stakeholders, critical stakeholders in the education system, as to how we could reimagine, reposition our education.
Minister King lamented the absence of a robust National Youth Council from which many leaders and current parliamentarians passed through. He adds that this youth parliament gives hope to the reviving of the National Youth Council.
Another thing, I am hoping that this process itself, the youth parliament today, kicks off another very important initiative, that of the revitalization or reformation, if you like, of the National Youth Council, a youth organization that provided significant training for young people who went on to provide great and make great contribution in all aspects of the Vincentian society, including the parliament. Both on the opposition and government sides, we have, I would call them, graduates of the National Youth Council, and I know what a wonderful training organization NYC was, and therefore I'm looking forward to the revitalization of the NYC, and I really hope that this summit will act as a stimulus for such an eventuality.
Meanwhile, opposition leader Dr. Godwin Friday said he is pleased to see the students in leadership roles.
I am happy to see that the young people are here, that they're getting a chance to see how the parliament works. And they said doing is always the best way to learn, and so I'm happy to be here to support them. I'm happy today to be in the Strangers Gallery to see from that perspective. That's where we start out, you know, and that's where I suppose all of us will wind up eventually. I met a few of them in the speakers' chambers just now. Seem like they're a bunch of very bright, eager youngsters. So let's hope that they maintain that spirit and that enthusiasm for our system of government, politics in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because, you know, the old saying, the youth are our future.
Dr. Friday adds he hopes that the experience in the youth parliament sparks an interest in students to continue.
They seem to have, demonstrated their interest by volunteering, agreeing to be a part of the program here. And I hope that this sparks something within them, that they feel that this is something that they would want to pursue later on, or encourage others to pursue. And they, I'm sure, will go back to their communities and, having had this experience, think, well, let's see how I could continue with the work that we started here.
The Education Transformation Bill was tabled in the National Youth Parliament by the Junior Minister of Education, Christian Gioansing. Minister Gioansing said measures need to be implemented to ensure a safe and violence-free violence-free environment within school premises.
Madam Speaker, dealing with the security and safety of students at school is an even more important priority in the transformed education system. Bodily searches can and will be carried out if a particular student arouses suspicion among peers and members of staff. If a member of staff has enough evidence to convict the student of the possession of intoxicating fluids, drugs, stolen goods, or weapons, a search will be carried out of the student and said student's property. If any of the items were found in the possession of the student, the staff is permitted to contact the police. After each search of a student and a student's property, a report is to be written and handed in to the principal, which will then pass this report on to the Ministry of Education, only if further review is necessary. Any obstruction during a search, such as abusive behavior or language by the person being searched or a spectator, is to be crucially penalized for this obstruction.
In her contribution to the debate, Opposition Member of Parliament for North Leeward, Grace Francis, questioned the government's policy on assigning pregnant teenagers to a special school.
Young mothers and pregnant students under the age of 19 have the option to return to the classroom at specially designated schools. Madam Speaker, the phrase specially designated school was an eyesore as I pored over this part of the bill. What exactly does this mean? Madam Speaker, I would really like for the Minister of Education to explain to this honorable House and the citizens of St. Vincent and the Grenadines why young mothers or pregnant students have to be designated to special schools. This part of the bill seems to be in direct contravention with the government's legal obligation to provide all children with an education without discrimination. However, Madam Speaker, because it is not my desire to oppose just for opposing's sake, I will await the Minister of Education's clarification on this matter.
The Milton Cato Memorial Hospital, the MCMH, has received a new CT scan machine, which was officially handed over by the Department of Technical Cooperation of the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA. Speaking at the handing over ceremony at the hospital today, IAEA Program Manager Saskia Frater-Smith gave commitment to continue supporting the delivery of healthcare services in SVG. She added that with this support, technicians who would work with the equipment will receive training. Minister of Health Sinclair Jimmy Prince, in his remarks, welcomed the support from IAEA. Prince said his ministry continues to expand the radiology department not only at the MCMH, but also at other government-operated healthcare facilities across the country. Prince also appealed to the public to be patient with the ongoing work to improve the country's main hospital. Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Rural Transformation, Saboto Caesar, says government intends to lend support to the butchers and livestock farmers of SVG. In an interview recently on NBC Radio, the minister discussed the importance of an abattoir to be established locally. Minister Caesar noted that the discussion initially arose in 2010. They received many suggestions to have a central slaughterhouse. However, it was later thrown out as it would not have been easily accepted by butchers.
As a government, continue to support our butchers. And I grew up in a community, in a village with a butcher stall. So I know it is a part of our culture. On a Saturday morning, my mother would send me down to Albi's butcher stall and you would buy the fresh beef. And at that time, I didn't have the presence of mind to recognize that what he was doing is that he was destroying the special cuts. Because when he was placing, his interest was to make sure that you don't get too much of the beef and you have to mix it with the bone. Yeah. So he had a bone section and he had the beef section, and when he wanted to balance the scale, he'd put in some bones to balance the scale. And that is something that is a part of our culture. And the issue was raised on Sunday about the development of an abattoir. And I can recall in 2010, when we started to discuss the issue of the establishment of the abattoir, there were some persons who were of the view that they wanted all of the animals to be slaughtered at a central place. But when we did our survey, because at the end of the day, policy must be grounded with the people, we realized that this wasn't something that would be accepted by the people, because it would really mean that you are now demanding that all the butchers head to one location.
The Agriculture Minister noted that the government is now at a place where they can realize where they realize that the establishment of a central abattoir specializing in special meat cuts, along with a production platform for livestock that would over time supply hotels, will all lead to a reduction in the local food import bill.
What we decided to do is to ensure that wherever you are slaughtering, that you met the national standards and the prerequisites, and we have persons who are going out to do the inspections. But I think that we have now gone past that discussion, and we are at the stage now where the development of a central abattoir has to be focused on the special cuts that we will be utilizing for the hospitality industry, and to have a production platform for livestock where animals will be raised particularly for that industry. Because the way you raise an animal, if you are going to do the special cuts and you're prepared for a particular niche market, it's different than if we are going to use it to go down to Mountwin on a Friday evening to do a cookout, a boil up, or if we go in my River 14 or pavement, it's a different kettle of fish. Now, the whole idea is this: we have to de-risk the livestock sector, and last week I spoke about de-risking the fisheries sector, and a big part of de-risking the livestock sector would be the establishment of an abattoir.
Caesar also said an invitation is being extended to local butchers to work along with the government.
That the government should build it, and the government should operate it. But when we do that, you're hearing persons saying, well, why didn't the government give an opportunity to someone in the private sector? In order for us to make more money that will remain in the country, I am using this opportunity this morning to call on persons again who are willing to invest. Let us sit at the table. Let us see how we can build out a value chain. Because when sandals come to St. Vincent and the Grenadines and we complete the project and it's open, and you have, as I was told at a meeting with the management, 1,500 persons going through these doors on a weekly basis. The number of burgers that we will need in the country. And we don't want, when in 2025, 2030, when you look at the food import bill, you see this very tall number. When you look at the imports for burgers, we would like for the burgers to be produced locally, right, and for the monies to stay in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And here's where I want to be very, very, very frank with this discussion, that I am not getting the responses from the local butchers to form themselves and to work along with a joint venture with the government to be able to establish the value chain that is necessary to be able to deal with the demand that is coming.
Minister Caesar said that the ministry has put a number of measures in place to ensure sustainable fishing practices are maintained in SVG. This was in response to a question directed at him in an interview recently on NBC Radio's Face-to-Face talk show program.
We have an abundance of seascape, and it's something that we have boasted about. That we have St. Vincent and the Grenadines is an archipelago of islands, and we have significant marine resources. Now, no matter how large a resource is, if it is not managed sustainably, it will be depleted. And even before rainforest came on stream, from the time that we started to expand with the other centers, because I don't want for us only to speak about one company, because there are many other companies exporting fish and marine products from our country. When we decided to establish the public-private partnership between the government and persons who were occupying these other centers, we had at the fore of our minds that we need to prevent overfishing.
In noting that the government is very serious about what happens in the marine space, the minister said that in realizing the issue of overfishing needed to be dealt with, the ministry quickly began to look into effective preventative measures.
That we need to prevent overfishing. And to answer the question, the first thing that we started to do, we started to look for different areas, marine spaces, that we will have to establish as no fishing zones, because these areas are areas which will be used as grounds for reproduction. The second thing that we did, and I'm using and utilizing the whole marine space, because not because we didn't have turtles as a tradable commodity, but we placed a total ban on the capturing of turtles, which signaled to persons globally that we were very serious about what was happening within the marine space. The second thing we did, and there are many different islands that tried to do this but were not successful, we put a total ban on the capturing of the parrotfish, because the parrotfish is very important in the promotion of healthy reefs. So when we speak about sustainable management of the marine resources, it's not only about how much fish we take out and how much lobster and conch we take out, it's how we protect also the habitat. Because without a protected habitat, you would have fish migration, and you will have a depletion of the resources.